In 1989, Matthew James Roloff, a 27-year-old computer salesman from California, took a job hunting trip to Oregon. He had been working long hours in Silicon Valley. He was looking for a change of pace. He was looking for a better quality of life for his young family, which at that point included his wife Amy and the twin sons she was pregnant with. While driving through the rural countryside outside of Portland one day, Matt spotted a property for sale. The property was a 34-acre farm in Helvetia, Oregon, just outside of Hillsboro. According to the description on the Roloff Farms website itself, the property was, at that time, an old, beat-up farmhouse, a broken-down barn, and an overgrown peach orchard. Most people would have driven past it without a second look. Matt did not. He saw something else. He saw possibility. He saw the playground he had never had as a child. He saw, in this run-down piece of Oregon land, the canvas on which he could build his dreams. And so, in 1990, Matt and Amy bought the property. They moved their young family from California to Oregon, and Matt began to build. Tonight on LPBW Update, we are walking through the most extraordinary single accomplishment of Matt Roloff's life: the transformation of a beat-up Oregon farm into one of the most iconic family destinations in America. We are going to walk through every major structure Matt built on Roloff Farms over the course of 3.5 decades. The medieval castle that took 10 years to complete and that his daughter Molly outgrew before he finished it. The pirate ship on the lake that became one of the most photographed structures in reality television history. The 3-story treehouse, the western town, the windmill, the covered bridge, the underground tunnels, the mine shaft, the soccer field, the volleyball court, the swamp fort, every single one of them, in some form, the work of one man's hands and one man's vision. Because the structures on Roloff Farms are not just nice to look at, they are the physical manifestation of one man's lifelong dream. The childhood Matt Roloff never had, built into reality so his children and now his grandchildren would never have to dream the same way he had to. To understand why Matt built what he built, you have to understand what his childhood was like. We covered Matt's early life in detail in an earlier video on this channel, but the relevant point here is this. Matt was born with diastrophic dysplasia, a degenerative form of dwarfism that affected his bones and joints from birth. He underwent 15 surgeries as a child. Many of those surgeries involved his legs and his hips. Many of them required extended hospital stays, body casts, and physical therapy. The cumulative effect was that Matt spent significant portions of his childhood in hospital beds rather than on playgrounds. He could not run with the other kids. He could not climb trees with them. He could not play on the structures at parks that were designed for average-height children. He could not go on rides at amusement parks where height restrictions kept him off the equipment. According to a profile in the New York Times, Matt has said that if he has one gripe on this planet, it is those signs at Disneyland that say you must be taller than a certain level to go on this ride. The exclusion of little people from many recreational activities, the simple unfairness of growing up in a world that was not built for him, shaped Matt deeply. While he lay in hospital beds during his childhood, he daydreamed. He daydreamed of cowboys. He daydreamed of Tom Sawyer adventures. He daydreamed of castles and pirates and tree houses and the kind of fantasy childhood he was missing. Those daydreams, that hospital bed imagination, became the blueprint for everything he would later build at Roloff Farms. The first major project Matt undertook after buying the farm was the basic infrastructure. The farmhouse needed to be made livable and accessible. Counters needed to be lowered so Amy and Matt could use them without ladders. The kitchen needed to be redesigned. The bathrooms needed accessibility modifications. The bedrooms needed adjustments. The basic accessibility work alone was a multi-year project. Matt did much of it himself with his own hands, using his computer programming logic to think through engineering problems and his lifelong stubbornness to push through obstacles. By the time Zach and Jeremy were toddlers, the farmhouse was a fully functional home for a little-person family. But the home, while important, was just the beginning. The dream Matt had carried in his hospital bed daydreams was bigger than a livable farmhouse. The dream was about building the kind of playground that would have made his own childhood unforgettable. The first major recreational structure Matt built on the farm was a treehouse. The 3-story treehouse at Roloff Farms became one of the iconic images of the early seasons of Little People, Big World. Built into a large tree on the property, the structure rose 3 stories tall with platforms, ladders, and observation points. The treehouse was the kind of structure every child dreams of having. Matt built it for his kids. Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob spent countless hours in that treehouse as they grew up. It became a hangout, a clubhouse, a hiding spot, a fort, and a refuge from adult supervision. The friends of the Roloff children were, according to Jeremy himself, always bugging them about wanting to come over and play. The treehouse was a big part of why. There was nothing else like it in the area. Maybe nothing else like it in the country. Next came the Western town. Matt's love of cowboys and Western imagery, born in his hospital bed reading and dreaming, manifested in a fully realized Old West village on the farm. The Western town features multiple buildings designed to look like an 1860s frontier settlement. There is a saloon, there is a jail, there is a general store, there are wooden boardwalks connecting the buildings, there are hitching posts, swinging doors, and the kind of authentic frontier details that Matt obsessed over during construction. The Western town also became the location of one of Matt's favorite playful family stories. When his grandchildren visit the town with him, he tells them, with the gentle storytelling instincts of a grandfather, that this town was made in 1861 by a whole village of little people. The kids' eyes light up at the idea of an entire town of little people building this place over a century ago. It is, of course, a story. The Western town was built by Matt himself in the 1990s and 2000s, but the playful framing of it as a hidden piece of little person history is the kind of detail that has made Matt such a beloved figure to children who visit the farm. He turns construction projects into legends. He turns his own building work into mythology. He gives the next generation a sense of imaginative wonder about the structures. The most ambitious single structure on Roloff Farms is the medieval castle. The castle, often referred to as Molly's Castle in family lore, took Matt approximately 10 years to build. He started construction when Molly was a young girl, intending the castle to be a fairy tale playground for his only daughter. The castle features detailed stonework, a drawbridge over a moat, chain railings, multiple levels, and turrets. It is a full-size medieval castle, not a miniature playhouse. It is the kind of structure that, when you see it in person, makes you understand the scope of what Matt was trying to build. The castle is not a small ornament on the farm. It is a major architectural achievement. Matt has shared in a 2022 Instagram post that he did not finish the castle in time for Molly to fully enjoy it as a child. He wrote that he had spent 10 years building Molly's castle and that he had gotten it done just in time for her to go away to school. He added, with his characteristic self-deprecating humor, "Oh well, next life I will move a little quicker." The post was bittersweet. Matt had built something extraordinary, but he had built it slower than he intended. Molly had grown up by the time the castle was complete. The fairy tale princess he had wanted to give a fairy tale playground to had become a teenager who was more interested in going to college than playing in a castle. But the castle endured, and it has, in the years since, become a favorite spot for Matt and Amy's 8 grandchildren when they visit the farm. The structure that Molly outgrew before she could fully use it is now the structure that her nieces and nephews are growing up exploring. Then came the pirate ship. Like the castle, the pirate ship is not a small ornamental structure. It is a full-scale wooden pirate ship, built on a lake on the property, complete with masts, decks, ropes, and the kind of detailed construction that makes you feel like you have stepped into a Treasure Island story when you walk on board. Matt built the original pirate ship years ago, and more recently, finished a newer, updated version. The newer pirate ship, completed not long ago, is open for visitors to view up close during pumpkin season. The pirate ship has been the location of countless family photos, fan visits, and reality television scenes over the years. It is one of the most iconic visual elements of Roloff Farms, and it represents in many ways the imaginative spirit that Matt has poured into every corner of the property. A pirate ship on a lake in rural Oregon. That is not a normal feature of a farm. It is, instead, a deliberate work of fantasy architecture. The list of additional structures on Roloff Farms goes on. There is a regulation soccer field where the Roloff kids played as they grew up, and where, on occasion, family soccer games still happen. There is a volleyball court for casual games. There is a mine shaft, a structure designed to evoke the kind of underground exploration that Matt's hospital bed reading might have included. There are underground tunnels, designed for children to explore in the way that children love to explore underground spaces. There are outbuildings that have been restored from the original 1990 farm property, repurposed as storage, workshops, or visitor experiences. There is a windmill, which Matt and Jeremy built together for the cocktail reception at Zach and Tori's 2015 wedding, and which has remained as a permanent fixture of the farm since. There is a covered bridge, with the kind of nostalgic Americana charm that fits the broader fairy tale aesthetic of the property. There is Noah's Ark, a wooden structure shaped like the biblical boat with painted animals and the kind of Sunday school imagination that fits the Roloff family's Christian heritage. There are structures based on the Three Little Pigs, with the straw house, the stick house, and the brick house all built in miniature for children to play in. There is the Tower of Terror, a vertical structure that became a popular photo spot. There is a swamp fort with a drawgate, an aquatic-themed defensive structure that adds to the playful military and adventure imagery of the property. And there is even a church, built on the farm, where Jeremy and Audrey got married in 2014. The church is a small chapel, designed and built by Matt with the wedding ceremony in mind, that has since hosted other family events and stood as a permanent fixture on the property. Each of these structures is a chapter in the broader story Matt has been writing on his land for 35 years. Each of them represents a specific moment of inspiration, a specific project that required months or years of work, a specific gift that Matt has given to his family, and through them, to the millions of fans who have visited or watched the farm over the years. What makes Matt's work on the farm even more remarkable is the accessibility consciousness behind every structure. Matt did not just build cool things for kids. He built things that little people could fully enjoy. The doors at the western town are sized so little people can use them without help. The stairs at the castle have appropriate proportions. The pirate ship has accessible features that average height theme parks rarely consider. Everything on the farm is designed with the explicit goal of making little people feel welcome, included, and able to fully participate. This is the deliberate, lifelong work of a man who grew up being excluded from playgrounds and amusement parks because of his height. He built a place where exclusion was not part of the design. He built a place where, as he has said, the signs do not say, "You must be taller than a certain level to go on this ride." That accessibility consciousness extends to little person visitors during pumpkin season. Little people visit Roloff Farms every fall. They climb on the structures, they explore the tunnels, they enjoy the castle, they walk through the western town, they feel at home in a way that they rarely feel at typical amusement parks or family destinations. The farm is, in this specific sense, more than just a tourist attraction. It is a sanctuary, a place where size does not exclude, a place where everyone gets to play. The financial reality of the farm has also evolved over the years. According to the New York Times profile, Matt originally built the structures with no intention of monetizing them. Quote, "It was not a commercial venture, just an idea that got seriously out of hand," the Times wrote. Matt built for his children's enjoyment. The first visitors were friends and neighbors. The first organized tours were casual. The first paid pumpkin season operations grew organically out of the fact that so many people wanted to visit. By the time Little People Big World premiered in 2006, the farm was already a successful seasonal business. By the time the show ended in 2024, Pumpkin season at Roloff Farms was generating tens of thousands of visitors per year and was the financial engine of the entire family operation. None of that commercial success would exist if Matt had not first built the structures purely for his children's joy. The commercial value followed the imaginative work. The business followed the dream. What happens to the structures if the farm sells? That is the question that hangs over everything in 2026. Roloff Farms is still officially for sale at $2,895,000. If Jeremy and Audrey Roloff purchase the property as Audrey has publicly hinted they might, the structures will be preserved within the family. The castle that Molly outgrew will continue to be a fairy tale playground for the next generation of Roloff kids. The pirate ship will continue to float on its lake. The western town will continue to stand. The covered bridge, the windmill, the soccer field, all of it will remain in the hands of people who understand its history and its meaning. If the farm sells to outside buyers, however, the future of the structures becomes more uncertain. New owners might preserve them. New owners might modify them. New owners might tear some of them down to reshape the property for different uses. Matt has said publicly that he hopes the next owner will love the farm as much as his family has. But love, in the end, is something only the buyer can bring. What is certain is that the structures, regardless of who eventually owns them, will stand for some time as a monument to one man's vision and one family's life. Matt Roloff built the castle. He built the pirate ship. He built the western town. He built the treehouse. He built everything. And what he built has become, in the imagination of millions of viewers who watched Little People, Big World over its 25 seasons, one of the most magical places in America. Not because it is the biggest, not because it is the most expensive, not because it has the most rides, because every structure on the property was made by one man's hands for his own children in the kind of love that builds things that last. That is Roloff Farms in a sentence. A monument to Matt Roloff's vision and his love for his family. A childhood dream made physical. A wonderland in rural Oregon that nobody knew the world wanted until they saw it. So I want to know what you think. Which structure at Roloff Farms is your favorite? And if you have visited the farm, what was your experience like? Do you think the farm should be preserved indefinitely with its current structures, even if it changes ownership? And do you think Matt's accomplishment as a builder is underappreciated compared to his accomplishments as a reality television star and businessman? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to LPBW Update, and ring the bell so you do not miss our weekly Roloff family stories. We are committed to bringing you the truth, the timeline, and the heart of every member of this remarkable family. I will see you on the next one.